Well, welcome to this bonus episode of the Added Time podcast with me, Alan Myers. It's 15 years since Fenway Sports Group took over Liverpool Football Club, and we all remember that amazing day outside the High Court in London when Tom Hicks and George Gillett lost the club. Well, one man that was in the centre of all that was Managing Director Ayre, who I'm delighted to say joins us from Tennessee, from Nashville, Tennessee. And Ian, it's great to have you on, but the smile on your face that day, I think, really summed up how every Liverpool fan felt.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I have no regrets in life whatsoever. I think that moment, from going through the process of selling the club, being sued individually for $1 billion, and going through, the High Court of London, not some magistrate's court in some small town, but the High Court of London, and all of the things that came with that. And I never really felt like I was fighting for myself, because I wasn't, but fighting for our club and the history of our club and the ongoing sort of, process of the club. It was such a sort of weight to carry, and to win and all be vindicated and to come out. It was just like an outpouring of, I think, emotion. But my greatest memory of that day actually wasn't on the steps. It was, I got the train home back to Liverpool on my own, and I was sat on the train going back up, and I got a text from my assistant, and she said, "Hey, listen, I know it's been a tough week. There's a couple of us meeting in some bar in Liverpool for a drink. Why don't you come back?" And why don't you come by and have a drink? And I was like, I really don't fancy it. But I thought, just come and have one. And I went in, and all of the staff were there. And there was like, this whole thing. And that was the most emotional thing for me. You started to realize how much it had meant for everybody in the city, in the club. Because, there was a moment there where everyone thought it was, going to go down the drain to some degree. So yeah, it was like pivotal. And, from there, the only way is up. There was a lot to do from there, but there was it was a great day for sure.
You must have been under a lot of stress yourself at that time.
Yeah, I think I'm not a person that gets generally stressed. I think if you do this job, if you're the CEO of any football club or sporting organizer, I think you have to accept that you're going to get, it's unlike anything else. You don't work in an accountancy firm or a bank and get millions of people with an opinion on how you're doing your job. And so it comes with a level of critique and people peering in at what you're doing and critiquing every decision you make and everything you do. So you kind of get used to it. And I think you have to accept it. If you can't accept that, or you can't deal with that, you shouldn't do the job, in my opinion. And I always took a little bit of solace in the fact that, like, I'm a massive football fan, but massive Liverpool fan my whole life. And for me, I feel exactly the same today when I see, Liverpool get beat or make a decision or buy a player. I have the same level of, opinion. And the difference is, it doesn't matter what I think necessarily. It's not like Arne Slot or Michael Edwards or John Henry are going, I wonder how Ian feels. But I never had a problem with people not liking what we were doing or having an opinion on it. But that was more profound with the whole ownership wrangle, because genuinely we had done nothing wrong. And I think it then became nothing to do with us as individuals, but actually about the greater good for Liverpool Football Club. And so stressful, hugely. But I think I'm a believer that if you're absolutely certain that you've done your best, the truth will prevail to some degree. So,
was the Hicks and Gillett model really the wrong type of model for Liverpool Football Club? I mean, the supporters never really took to it, did they?
Yeah, I think it's important not to just dismiss everything they wanted to do or every intention they had, because there was some good intention there. I mean, they wanted to make it successful. They wanted to make it bigger. They wanted all these good things. I think the piece that was most missing was I think they failed, which, by the way, I think FSG do get. They failed to understand the importance of the history and the culture of that football club. You know, it doesn't, I think it was, I can't remember if it was Tom Werner or John Henry said this not long after. They said, you know, we're just custodians. I think that's such an important line with a club like Liverpool, where every Liverpool fan in the world, and particularly the ones in Liverpool, feel it's their club. If anyone owns it, they own it. You know, it's been in their city for 100+ years. And so somebody coming in, whether it's from America or the Middle East or anyone coming in, you're coming in to kind of have a role, but you don't own it. It's not yours, you know. And I think that in Tom and George, they kind of missed that point to some degree and messed with it a little bit too much. And I think also the financial environment at that time didn't work for them. Who knows if the world hadn't kind of gone into free fall around that time, maybe they'd have got further along with it. Who knows? But I felt that respect for the history and the culture of Liverpool and Liverpool Football Club is such an important part of owning and operating that organisation.
Now, I remember being in the back of a car with Tom Hicks on the day when he lost the club. I was in Dallas covering the story for Sky on that side of the world. I remember him telling me that he was really upset because he felt that he was gonna lose maybe, I don't know, I think it was £3.5 billion, he said, in like 15 years' time, which is, when you look at Liverpool today, is really sort of what has happened. Do you think that when you look at FSG's ownership, they seem to have got it right? They've had a few rocky moments in that 10, 15 years, but they seem to have got it right, don't they?
100%. And having been fortunate enough to sit in those rooms early on and, you know, for many years with them, 7 years, I think, with them, there was always a plan. And I think that, you know, I think it's what's interesting about them as a group and the path that they've followed is I think they've always had a destination in mind, which is to get it kind of pretty much where it is today, both on and off the field. And, you know, of course you have to alter your course at times. You know, you have these things that you get wrong and you have to steer a little bit off course, or you inadvertently steer off course, like ticket prices or like Super League or you know, all these different things. But they're smart enough to recognize that whilst they might have some apologizing to do or change to do or change their mind or change their opinion, they always seem to get that done quickly and then get back on course. And it's not like they sway their opinion too far off course, and they've just stuck with it. And it's been an incredible journey. They absolutely deserve it. And I think as a Liverpool fan, you know, how can you not be impressed by what they've achieved? You know, bringing not just multiple titles and wins, but, you know, the first and now second Premier League title for a long time.
Well, Ian, you moved eventually on from Liverpool. I think you went for a short spell at 1860 Munich. But then you went to America and started at Nashville SC, which is an MLS club. And pretty much from scratch, really. It looks as though it's gone really well. How have you enjoyed your time there?
It's been incredible. It's been unique. It's been way more than I ever imagined, you know, in a hugely positive way. You know, when I was approached about coming to do this, the unique thing was who gets, if you've been doing what I'd been doing for 20 years or something, who gets to build a whole team from, you know, a blank sheet of paper almost, and build a stadium and training ground and, you know, hire all the staff. It's so unique. And to do it in an incredible environment like Nashville in the United States, it's just, I mean, you know, I'm at the end of my career, and to finish with something so unique and so rewarding and surrounded by so many great people. We have you know, I think one of the best owners in world sports, in John Ingram, and And like if I was, if you were going to put the icing on the cake of any career that you've had, this would be it for me. And I'm very fortunate that this is home for me now. I've been offered a role that I now have where I'll stay involved, for the long term, as on the board and as an advisor. And it's the perfect storm. I still get to be involved, but I also get to do some of the other things that you like to do later in life more often. And it really couldn't have gone any better. And we're very fortunate that, here we are in, having started in 2020, we're in 2025. We've been in 2 finals and we won our first trophy just a month or so ago. So yeah, feeling good about Nashville and grateful for having had the opportunity.
And of course, next summer we see the World Cup come back to America along with Canada and Mexico. I guess it's a really big time for not just the country itself, but for MLS clubs as well to try and maybe, take advantage of this interest in the game.
Oh yeah, I think it's pivotal. I think these moments have come a few times for Major League Soccer. For Nashville, we were a host venue for the Club World Cup in 2025, which was incredible. And to see the World Cup come back to the United States, Mexico and Canada next year, I think that's an opportunity and a responsibility for Major League Soccer and teams like ourselves to use that as a platform to continue to grow the game in this country. And every team in this league and the league itself have been planning for a long time to make sure that we capitalize as much as we can on that, so that in late 26 and beyond into the future years, that this league and this game in this country keep growing, because the opportunity is immense if you can continue to grow here.
And you're from Liverpool, of course, a great music city, but you've been in Nashville for a number of years now. Have you become a great country and western fan?
I am not a massive country and western fan, it has to be said. Although, if you catch me on the right day, I might have a pair of cowboy boots and a hat on. But no, I haven't quite found that. I haven't quite drank the Kool-Aid, as they say here on country music. But a huge respect for that's such an important part of this city, and it is the music city. You get all kinds of music. But we have some of the country stars come out to games, and we have some of them come play here at our stadium. Recently had a double-header concert here. So we're in the thick of it, but enjoying and loving being in the other music city, having grown up in the one back in Liverpool.
Well, Ian, thanks very much for your time. Thanks for joining us here on the Added Time podcast. And if you have liked this episode, please subscribe on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll see you next time.